talking about the feed very briefly, congratulations on the upgrade for next year.
Yes, we're a real show now. Yeah, it's interesting. Like, for a 15-minute TV show that, I had to present live every night, the reaction was on a channel that, let's be honest, up until very recently, nobody had heard of. There's not a lot of promotion for SBS, let alone SBS2. The reaction was really good. Like, and I know that's the sort of thing you kind of expect somebody to say, but it was kind of amazing to get up there, read the headlines, and then kind of check your phone during a patch and go, oh my God, people are actually watching. So I think to have it expanded, to have it be something that, I think a half-hour show is something that people will fold into their daily life. And it's amazing. One of the last stories we did on the last episode was about a woman. I'm just going to tell you the name of the video, which is called Vagina Knitting. We just found out this morning it had 2.3 million hits on YouTube. So it seems like there are certain things that we do that are resonating, and hopefully it'll expand and just get better next year.
Are you already thinking about what you're going to be doing next year? I imagine
more vagina knitting, basically.
Vagina knitting. I imagine there's some stories that you already have to be thinking about if people are traveling or things like that.
Well, I mean, there's a little bit of travel that's involved. So I, in addition to obviously hosting the show and doing stories and reports, I used to do a lot of interviews for the show. And I was just in France interviewing every French film actor that's ever existed for every French film that's coming out next year. So I still do those, obviously because I have a background in film. Film's a big part of the show. And I did 42 interviews in 4 days.
Been there, it's
hard. And I just remember sitting there. It was great. There was some, like, Juliette Binoche was really interesting. She talked a little bit about the new Godzilla film that she's been involved with, which I know is like the weirdest sounding thing in the world. Juliette Binoche talked about Godzilla, but she had some really interesting things to say, and she's just one of those stunningly insightful, interesting people. So yeah, there is a lot of planning that's already begun on the show, even though Christmas hasn't even happened yet, and we're all very tired.
Yes, indeed. So after Tropfest, do you get some R&R?
It's a bit weird with me because I have like 3 jobs. Yeah. So there's the feed, there's Triple J movie guy stuff, and then I host a radio show for Radio National called Download the Show, which is about technology. So that runs up until Christmas, and then for me, I've also I present the Saturday night movies on SBS. So we're shooting a special bunch of those for they're doing a kung fu season. So me and Sandy George, who does SBS One films, we're doing kung fu basically. is the short version of it. So there's still a little bit of shooting to go, but it kind of, with my life and my multiple jobs, it kind of staggers out, and then it staggers back in. My wife would very much like it if I actually took time off, but she realises the only way to force me to do that is to literally take me out of the city, and so we're going to have to do that at some point.
Yes. Fair enough. And what's in store for 2014? Are there already plans to go to other festivals around the world, and film festivals, in particular?
It's very embryonic at this stage. But like, this has been interesting because this will be the first year where actually all my jobs stay the same, because my career, everything changes.
Yeah, of course.
So next year I'll be back doing Triple J, I'll be back doing Radio National, and I'll be back doing the feed, and we're experimenting with a couple of new formats at SBS. And it's interesting with SBS, which is a channel that is due for, I think, and the kind of new management there that hired me and people like me, is that it is in need of renewal. It is in need of younger audiences and kind of getting back to that thing that made it unique many years ago, which is the place you go to for eclectic, weird, fun things that you won't find anywhere else. And so they're working quite hard to basically to be the channel that you go to for fun, interesting things you can't get at good old-fashioned Auntie and places like that. So there's a lot of work that's going into that. So we're piloting some other things as well. So.
And before I forget, with Tropfest, are you going to be reviewing things live, or are you worried about people throwing tomatoes at you?
Oh, we got security for that. No, no. We'll there's big chunks of the telecast which are basically the 3 of us debating which ones we think worked really well, and then bringing into that what the audience think works really well. We've got this special Tropfest app which people should actually download before they get there, and kind of put in their thoughts of the films that they're watching, because we will be folding them into the telecast as well.
Fantastic.
And hopefully nobody says anything too libelish. Libelish being a word, obviously. Yeah.